I mean, everybody loves Kevin Hart. He's amazing. Unfortunately, he got hurt. I personally don't think it has anything to do with age. Some things are going to degrade. Some things are going to slow down a little bit. But I think we could push these things off quite a bit. And there's certainly no reason why you can't sprint. I would say also, too, in Kevin Hart's defense, he did a great job.
He runs a lot. But when you're sprinting and you're putting all of that force through your body, if you don't do that often, he's trying to win. Shit. You're in your late 40s now. You find when you get up, you just got to warm up a little more than you maybe used to.
For me personally, it has to do with my training. I also want to point out, like, anyone can get hurt doing just about anything.
There's so many people who are probably like listening that have felt themselves getting younger too, just by doing more shit, right? I mean, if we felt it, I know that there's so many people who felt the same thing. It's like you probably feel better now than you did a few years ago.
What, Heal Yourself, that book? Yeah.
Do you remember? Okay, so you remember you asked me a few days ago, you have any pain anywhere? I'm like, nope. The next day, something happened in my back, right? And then I just chose not to roll for the past few days. I'm like, okay, this motherfucker needs to heal because I need to compete next week. But as I started just like rolling out quads, doing a bunch of stuff in the sides, it's funny. I was here yesterday doing a bunch of stuff. And it's funny how the pain just traveled to different areas like it's happened. And now I feel like a lot better. But that myofascial release just continues to make a big difference.
What kind of back thingy was it?
I don't know what happened.
Was it one of those ones where it's like weird to breathe, or was it like different lower back?
It's lower back. I can breathe. I can move through it or whatever. But like there's like a segment where it's just like, oh, there's something right there. And I'm like with everything, I'm just trying not to limit the movement I do, but I'm trying to be smart with it. And that's why I haven't rolled in a few days because of it. But it's getting better pretty fast.
Well, I know why you've got some injuries. Everything you do is wrong. I've looked at your comments on your Instagram, and you're just throwing those kettlebells around for views. And when you're chasing after views and things like that,
you get yourself injured.
You get yourself hurt.
That's what happens. That is what happens. No, but like, yeah, it just, are we recording right now? Oh, shit.
Wait, when did you start?
I thought we were just talking.
I started like half an hour ago.
I thought we were just talking.
All that shit you guys were talking is all published.
See?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
What were some things you did to help get some tension out of there?
Yeah, so I used, I had some of those, what are those balls that we
Yoga
got
balls?
from? Yeah, no. The
Tune-up?
The tune-up fitness balls. Use those on my back.
Yoga tune-up.
Got them like, but the thing is, you know, what's interesting is I get in a lot on my hamstrings, glutes, which did help. But one area that I just don't really fuck with much was my quads, my hip flexors, my quads, my like my teardrop, etc. And when I got on those areas, I'm like, fuck, you know, nowhere on my body feels as tense and as like painful when I roll out than this area. I can roll my hamstrings everywhere, nothing, but I just don't roll my quads often. Then once I roll my quads and my hip flexors, it's like, oh shit, wow, that really
wonder
helped.
if that has to do with your sport, like you're crouched forward a bit, right?
I mean, yeah.
You're doing a lot of stuff in your training. You're doing lunges and you're doing all kinds of stuff to open up those areas. But maybe something about jiu-jitsu makes those areas a little tighter. Hip flexors, maybe quads or something.
I can understand. Like the thing is, personally, like those areas, I don't think are tight necessarily on me. Well, actually, they probably are. Since when I was doing my fast release, like they were more painful than other areas. But the thing is, too, it's like, when I do my fast release, I don't really touch those areas almost ever. And that showed itself to be kind of a problem. So now I'm going to be hitting those as much as I hit my back, my hamstrings, etc. It should help quite a bit. But doing some of that myofascial release immediately when I got up, walked around, moved around, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be able to roll in like a day or two.
Nice.
You know? So it helps immediately.
Yeah, getting some of that bullshit out of there.
You know, I think like maybe one of the goals with my fast release is for it not to hurt anywhere.
Right.
Know what I mean? Like for everywhere to feel pretty decent when you're rolling on top of it. And maybe if you're rolling on top of something and it's like tight or you're grimacing, maybe that's a sign where this is an area you need to work. At least that's what I look at for myself.
I think something you said is important is that you took a couple days off, because that is really hard. A lot of people don't want to do that. And that's like, I got something in my like butt/hamstring thing going on with some running. Yeah. Especially because I've been running a little faster. I've been picking up the pace on some stuff. And so it just makes me more sore. So I'm like, I have soreness almost like I'm lifting, you know, because now the demands are different. I'm producing more force. And like calves and feet, shins, glutes, like all that stuff starting to like I could feel it when I wake up in the morning. I'm like, oh, like it has like some weight on me, you know, and it makes sense because it's new. I haven't done that in so long, and I went out and ran with a barefoot sprinter the other day, and we did some stuff on the field and been messing around with that David Wack vest. I don't know what that thing quite does yet, but it's 12 extra pounds and moving quicker and working on some jumps and things like that. And so things get sore, and the hamstring glute thing has been kind of flaring up on and off like the last like 3 weeks. I probably need to do what you said is I probably need to try to get a couple days off.
Yeah, that's it's the hardest thing because like you feel like you could probably just like take your runs a little bit lighter. Like I wanted to just take jujitsu a little bit lighter, but I was just thinking, yeah, it's not going to be a good idea.
Right.
You could just go a little bit too hard and then compete next week. It's not a good idea.
Right.
Have you tried the hanging belt strap thingy that David Wack's been showing?
Yeah, I don't necessarily need that type of decompression there.
Well, so not even for the decompression aspect of it, but just like literally like the 45-degree back raise like that you can do with it. I don't know what it is about that. So I'll do like 20 full range back raises.
You've been doing it every day, Andrew.
Yeah.
Right.
And it feels fun. Like I feel so good right now, but like I'll do 20 full range back raises, and then I'll do 20 like partials right in the middle where your back is like more parallel with the ground. So there's way more tension on it. And I'll do 20 right there, and dude, my back, like the pump it's so good. And then today I did that 2 times in a row, and I felt really, really good. But then the stuff you were showing me about like turning my toes in and like kind of trying to get a burn on your hips, that actually kind of made my back flare up a little bit more. And I was like, whoa, like that's interesting. So it's something to note down in the journal with my back. But I was just curious because I know you like the movement aspect of like kind of moving things around to get the like alleviate the pain. So I'm just wondering if you were doing that, but if not, I'm give it a shot, dude, because it's like a super duper easy low impact way to get so much blood flow to the back that like it's low risk, super high reward.
I think you can pull up some of that on David Wack's page so people can know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it also feels good to lean back on it too, like to face the other way.
Just have something hold you
and lean back, because I think like a lot of people are limited with being able to like lean back, like you're in the Matrix. That's kind of a tough position for a lot of people. But then you have like that support there. But that's probably a movement I need to do a little bit more often, because I think it will help me get into that into the hammies and into the butt cheeks a little bit more.
Yeah. So he's doing a pretty
heavy kettlebell,
pretty different modification on it. Like this, in my opinion, I mean, whatever. It's for strength, right? It's really well, but like for what I'm talking about, no weight is even necessary. And then what I've been doing lately is, because we have like those posts next to the cable machine, is I'll grab a battle rope and I'll put that on the floor and I'll pull myself with it. So I create like this huge, awesome decompression of the spine, like to the point where it's probably too much. Like, if I go another like grip away, like I might like pop my shit, but it feels crazy. It feels really, really good.
Sick.
Yeah.
I think, movements like that, I think are awesome because they just allow you to get in slightly different positions. I know you've been messing around with the mobility stick lately, those orange sticks, and those allow you to get in positions that otherwise it's really tough to get into. Or even in this case, I think you're using a broomstick, right?
Yeah. No,
something to like leverage, like a leverage point. Something to kind of leverage off of.
Yeah, the stick that we have is pretty cool too, because you're able to kind of pivot around it, but you could use any type of stick with it. It's just a lot of these tools are pretty awesome to help with like variable movement, moving to different ranges.
Yeah, I like that David Wack's just watching it.
It's funny because there's somebody that I think commented in there from Functional Patterns, and it's actually a very funny comment because David went back and forth with them. It was kind of hilarious.
I'll check it out later.
David gets angry.
He does.
I want to talk about Kevin Hart, because I know that he. Everybody loves Kevin Hart. He's amazing. Unfortunately, he got hurt really bad. Just
he was so amazing, he wouldn't have gotten hurt, right?
I know. He went out and kind of took on a challenge from a friend, it looked like, and they just went and sprinted out of nowhere. And then some of his commentary later on, he talked about why he got hurt and stuff like that. And he mentioned being 40. He's like, being over 40 is very real. And I personally, we could talk about it more after we play the clip, but I personally don't think it has anything to do with age, because there's a lot of people doing a lot of things at really high levels that are older than 40. That there are people that are 50, people that are 60. Brad Kern, who we had on the podcast, he participates in like high jump. I mean, there's all kinds of people doing all kinds of things at different ages. Sean Baker, Stan Efferding, like these guys aren't young. The reason why they are not getting hurt doing some of the things that they're doing, and they're still miraculous, is because they're used to those things. So if you go out and do something you're not used to, if Stan Efferding in his 50s went out and played basketball, he could very easily hurt himself if he hasn't played basketball in a long time. And then he might say, oh man, I'm not the way I was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I can go and do anything. But why as a kid could you go and do anything? Because as a kid, as you know, Andrew, with your son, you can't keep that kid still. If he's awake, he's moving. He's running around. He's always jumping, right? He's always like training. He looks like he's training all the time, right? He's like laying on the ground, then he's standing up, and then he's on the couch. He's upside down on the couch. You're like, what the? So for your son to go out and like run full blast or full speed, even as he becomes 6 and 7 and 8 years old, it's not a problem. And then the other side of that too is when you're really young, you just don't produce that much force. So it's a lot harder to hurt yourself.
Yeah, if there's a thing, he will try to jump over it or jump down from it or now jump onto it. And then something else to just like emphasize what you're saying about it and having nothing to do with Kevin Hart's age is that there's people younger than him that do the exact same thing. They'll go like whatever, play basketball, and it's like, oh shit, I broke something. Or
Pickleball.
Exactly. And these are people that are younger. So, if it's an age thing, how can we see it on both sides of it?
And obviously age does play into it to some degree. Like you have some things are going to degrade. Some things are going to slow down a little bit. But I think we can push these things off quite a bit. And there's certainly no reason why you can't sprint from the time you're 1 until the time till you're the day you die. Let's check it out.
Let's check out the actual sprint.
It's like some Fast and Furious shit. They're out in the street.
Yeah, I think you see where he kind of like, right there. That step.
He was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's running against a former NFL running back. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I want to watch
the white.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad. Anytime somebody starts off by saying, well, it's bad.
Damn.
Ladies and gentlemen, the age 40 is real. To all my men, women out there that are 40 years old and above, it's not a game. Respect that age. Respect that age. Or that age will make you respect it. I was just forced to respect it. This is just a public service announcement because I know people may see me out. And I don't want you to be alarmed, but I'm in a wheelchair. Yeah. I'm in a wheelchair.
Damn,
why? Well, because I tried to jump out there and do some young stuff. Tried to go out there and do some young man stuff, and I was told to sit my ass down. Shouts out to Stephen Wiley. I'm going to go and put this story out there before you do. Me and Stephen, we got into a little debate. This debate was based off of who was faster. Those that know me know I'm pretty fast. Stephen said, Kev, ain't no way you're going to beat me. Stephen is an ex-NFL running back, played for New England Patriots. Very good guy. I said, Steve, you can bet it. He said, bet. I said, bet. We get out there, we go run the 40-yard dash. 40-yard dash. Guys, I blew all my shit. Tore my lower abdomen. My abductors are torn. I don't even know what that is, but I tore them. I tore those too. I can't walk.
Lower ab is
Sit
rough.
my ass down. This is 44. Tell you what you just lost, son. You just lost every opportunity of me going to racing you anytime soon. It's over. Kenneth, it's over. Sit down. What are we competing for at this age? What am I doing?
Poor guy.
Why did I even race?
Damn.
Stupidest shit ever. Now I can't walk because I'm somewhere trying to get the title of the fastest nigga at the barbecue. What was I thinking, son? God, got to be the stupidest man alive. It is what it is, man. This is life. I'm out. I got about 6 to 8. I blew my shit. Welp.
Red video.
Man.
Oh, it jumps already?
Yeah, right there.
Boy, you know what? Y'all, let me tell you something. I'm getting all types of calls. I'm getting calls from friends, athletes. Everybody starts off the same. Man, what the fuck? That's what they say. What the fuck were you thinking, Kev? Why you do that? Man, you supposed to be in shape. Bitch, I am in shape. This ain't got nothing to do with being in shape.
Bitch, I am
When's the last time that you have run an all-out sprint? I'm talking about a hard effort run. Giving it all you got. Lip biting. I'm talking that lip biting run. Hands like this, where you fucking dip, dip, and you making noises while you run. When's the last time you have given yourself a 1,000% effort sprint? People don't do this shit. Not at the age 40 and up. That's why my stupid ass in this situation. Look at this shit. Look at this. You know how long it take me to get the fuck out the car? I'm a mess. I'm a fucking mess, man.
Oh man.
God damn. This shit got me, guys. It's bad. It's fucking bad. My dick look like a thumb.
What the fuck?
Balls done got big as hell.
Got some edema.
Balls look like my fists. Can't move my goddamn legs. All from on your mark, get set. Never again. Never again. And to every friend that has called me and that has laughed at me, ooh, boy, after this 6 to 8 week, when I get back to functioning, I'm gonna light your asses up. You know who the fuck you are. You know who the fuck you are. Mark, get set, go. It sat me down, didn't it? Should have been on your mark, get set. No. 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 That's what the fuck I should have did. That's what I'm gonna do next time. How this happened to you? You supposed to be in shape. Fuck y'all. Fuck every one of y'all. What I am is in pain. We'll be back. This road to recovery is gonna be real. I'll document it. Goodbye.
Man, there's lots of different levels of being in shape, and going out and doing something that you haven't done in a long time can be really dangerous. Like there's nothing in the gym that you can do that can compare to putting that amount of stress on your body. I think when you're sprinting, obviously it depends on the amount of like force that you're able to generate, but you're putting at least 6 times your body weight probably on each individual leg. Good luck trying to figure that out in the gym. You can't do a leg curl if he weighs like 150 pounds, whatever the multiple of 6 would be. You're not doing a single leg curl with that amount of weight or with that amount of force. You're never really doing it. I mean, you might, if you're playing pickup games of basketball or you're playing some other sports, maybe, but to run full speed, and that's usually where people get hurt. People very rarely get hurt from the start. They get hurt once they've been kind of going already for 20, 30 yards. I would say also too, in Kevin Hart's defense, he did a great job. Like he was right there the whole time.
He was.
Except for right towards the end when he got hurt. So he's fucking fast.
It kind of also shows a difference in terms of like a max effort run because he runs. He runs a lot. He's done marathons, multiple full marathons. But when you're sprinting and you're putting all of that force through your body, right? Everything is moving. Your legs are getting farther and farther apart. If you haven't done that often, and if you don't do that often, shit. He's trying to win? Shit. That's a rough spot to put yourself in.
Yeah, and going and running against somebody, I guess, is also problematic, right? Because the person's faster, you're trying to keep up. If he just went out and did like a light sprint at 60%, he'd probably be fine, right? 70%. But it was like the 90 or 100% that got him.
Oh, it was 100%.
Yeah.
He's trying to beat this dude.
You want to see the Gary Scheffler breakdown?
Sure, check it out.
We always need a breakdown from Gary, right?
Go to breakdown.
Down, but he's running Stephen Ridley, and I want you to see Stephen Ridley's landing here. No bow, inside ankle bone low behavior. You'll see the ankle falling down and in. That leg ends in a valgus position. He's had MCL and ACL issues throughout his career. And then you see Kevin Hart in the duck-footed landing, super duck-footed. He's all in his front chain. and then he tears some muscles or whatever. So you can kind of see how those behaviors, even though they both the same, they don't necessarily have to have the same injury pattern. So just kind of showing it. Then as the foot comes off the ground, you'll see as he goes into triple extension, the heel's inside. Same thing here with Kevin Hart, the heel's inside.
Kevin Hart, his
this is the Kevin
feet are pointed out so much, it almost looks like he's trying to run like in a different direction. Almost looks like he's getting ready to like cut almost, rather than like run straight.
Keep shit involved. I think, it doesn't, as you get older, actually, let me ask you this. You're in your late 40s now.
Mm-hmm.
You find when you get up, you just got to warm up a little more than you maybe used to, or do you find that you do that? What's the deal?
If I trained really hard, then I have always needed a good warm up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how old I was.
Yeah.
So if I guess for lack of a better term, if I like feel old, which I've felt old in my 20s before, because you just, you get these workouts in, you do these squats and these deadlifts and these different things, and your body just feels compressed. And from heavy lifting, you sometimes feel like fatigued. And so, yeah, sometimes it would take me a while to warm up, but that was even when I was younger. I do hear a lot of people saying, like, as they age, they need more of a warm up. Again, it just has to, for me personally, it has to do with my training. If I trained really hard a couple days ahead of time, and you said, hey, let's go do some box jumps, I would walk in the gym and I'd be like, I need probably like 10, 15 minutes before I go jumping on anything.
Yeah.
But if I had a day or two off and felt rested, I could come in and just right off the street start jumping into some things that are more strenuous. I think the biggest problem for most people, and the reason why people get hurt with activities like that, is just it's been so long. There's so much removal from when he's actually sprinted. Maybe in some of his runs, prepping for a marathon, maybe he's done some casual, like, I'm going to pick up the pace. Like, let me see what I can get. And he looks at his watch or his time and he's like, oh, I was, running a 6-minute mile pace or a 7-minute mile pace. But that's still, again, so different than the amount of force that you're going to produce when you're sprinting.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to like stuff like this, if you're someone who, you train in the gym a lot and you want to have the ability to sprint, I think might be a good idea to like Joel Green it. You know what I mean? Like, if you can, try to hit a few random 60% sprints during your day. If you're feeling comfortable, if you're out there, I still do that now. Like, I'll just go at a slightly like faster clip if I'm walking, just so that you can just send the signal of, okay, my body knows how to do this. My body can do this. Because I've pulled my hamstring sprinting after not sprinting for a long time. And that's just because it's something I didn't do. But if you can keep it involved, that's one of the biggest things. And I also think like one thing is just try to figure out ways to keep your body moving. Casey made something, the recovery table. Have you guys fucked with it yet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I took it home so I could mess with it this
nice.
weekend. So I've been doing a lot of my fast release, and it's I can't wait for this thing to actually come out, because it's just this thing that you put on your couch so that you can sit on a hard surface while chilling on your couch and doing some my fast release versus getting on the floor. It makes it more accessible, right? Because at my place there's dog hair everywhere. Right. So, like, you don't always want to sit on the floor, but...
And if you have dogs, they'll lick your face and everything else, right?
Right, yeah. Now, the dogs came up on the recovery table, too, but, like, that allowed just for a bit of extra movement, something like that, right? So just something to keep the body moving. Now, we talked to countless professionals on this podcast about the importance of strong, functional feet. And chances are that your years of wearing narrow toe box shoes have weakened your feet, and they're probably not functioning the way they should. Boo. That's why we've partnered with Palua. Yay. They're the first casual 5-finger shoe that's flat, has a wide toe box, and has 5 fingers that you can stick your little toesy woesies into so that they can help bring back that toe space so your toes will start to move and function the way they should. And if they do, that'll allow you to be a better, stronger athlete. Andrew, how can they get them?
Yes, that's over at peluva.com/power project. That's PELUVA.com/power project. And at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject15 to save 15% off your order. Again, peluva.com/power project. Links in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Yeah, you got to stay in touch with your fitness, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And again, too, I also want to point out, like, anyone can get hurt doing just about anything.
Yeah.
So even if Kevin Hart did train for that and sprinted, there's still potential to get hurt when you're going 100%. When you go to lift heavy, I mean, look at all the years of training I had for all the different bench presses and stuff that I did. I still tore my pec a bunch of times, including times where the weight wasn't even 100%. And then, you know, in terms of like running, I've hurt myself pretty bad twice running. Once was when I was like in high school. So I was young and I was already sprinting and I did track. I did like 4 by 100 meters. I felt like I was pretty fast. And I got hurt just running like a 40-yard dash or maybe a 100-yard dash at a football camp. And I tore up like my hip and stuff. And that took like 5-6 weeks to heal from. And I was young and I was sprinting all the time. I think my body got tight from lifting, and I don't know if I was practicing 100-meter. I think it was maybe the issue at that time because I was transitioning into like more training for football, and the 100 meters I was doing in track was a couple years prior to that. And then also as an adult, you know, going out to the track with our buddy Graham, I hurt myself. And I wasn't even, that was so annoying and so frustrating to get hurt that way because I was new at running, but I didn't feel like I was going that fast, at least for me and my body, the way that I was feeling on that day. I felt like all I was doing was picking up the pace a bit. I was like, oh, this feels pretty good. And I'm like, oh, let me go like just a little. I just want to go a little. I want to feel like, we'll see what it feels like to go just a little faster. And then pop, there's something went in like my hip, stomach, or whatever it is. And that one sucked, man. That took like 4 months, 5 months, maybe even longer to heal from that.
Dude, you can only ask of your body what you've prepared it to do.
Right.
Right? It's like if you haven't been running and you haven't been sprinting, like don't expect to be able to go out and put 80% into your body and think you're going to be okay. Just like if you haven't been lifting a lot of weight, right? You haven't been lifting max effort. Then you go into the gym one day and you're like, okay, I'm going to do a max effort squat today. You might get lucky, you might get out unscathed, but most of the time something's going to happen because you haven't prepared yourself. And it's like, it's the same thing. You know, if you've been inactive from doing a certain activity for years, you gotta be kind to your body, right? You gotta take it easy as you ease yourself into it. There was somebody in here today that's like, okay, I'm gonna start running. I'm gonna start running each day because he's pumped about running. And then we were just like, hey, start with some run walks. Yeah, how long's it been since you ran? It's been years, right? Running is one of the most natural things for us to do, but when we stop doing it, then it's not something natural for us to do anymore. So you gotta ease yourself into it, or you're gonna get yourself ready for some bullshit like what happened to him. It's unfortunate what happened to him too. It's like there's a funny aspect to it, but it really sucks. Injury like that just fucking sucks.
You look at like high level baseball players, they tear their hamstrings all the time. And people, oh, baseball is a game; it's not a sport, or what? You know, people say different things about baseball, but these guys are producing tons of force. One of the issues with baseball, though, is that there's a lot of like latency. There's a lot of like just kind of laying around and like not doing much for a while. If you're like a center fielder, an outfielder, you might not have a ball might not have come your way for a couple innings, and now you're up at bat and you hit one down the third baseline and you got to sprint full blast to first base or whatever it might be, and that's where you see like a lot of the injuries happen. But even a well-trained athlete, I mean, how many times have you seen it in the Olympics? It's like, oh my God, the guy's out. Like he prepared for 4 fucking years, you know, 4 years of like making the trials and making the team and all this stuff. And then probably since the time the person was like a little kid, they probably been thinking about this, and they blow their hamstring out. I don't really know, like, I believe in a lot of the stuff that Goda shares and a lot of the stuff that a lot of movement people share and the information and stuff, but I think sometimes just shit happens. When the human body is trying to go like 100%, I think sometimes shit happens. But I also say that if you have had a long period of time in between an activity that you haven't been doing for a long time, you got to really baby yourself into it. You got to take baby steps into it. The sprints and stuff I've been doing, if you can bring up a clip of like, I posted one this morning. I'm starting to run a little faster. I know I can run faster. I know I can open up more, but I keep reserving myself. I'm like, I'm going to probably hurt myself. It's been a long time since I've really, tried to run fast. And so it's going to take time, and I'm not afraid of it taking like months or years even.
And Are you wearing a vest still?
Yeah, I got the Wack vest on right there.
Is that to like kind of slow you down a little bit so that way?
No, you know, I don't know. Like the Wack vest, I think for me, in my uncoordinated efforts to run, I think it'll actually make me faster. I think maybe for someone who's already athletic, maybe it wouldn't feel the same way.
I think it would.
But I know for Wack, he said that he's had a lot of guys like in his own testing. He's had people like run bleachers and run stairs and stuff, and they run faster with the vest versus without.
The heck?
That's just his own, his own testing stopwatch, judging people. But the fucking thing weighs 12 pounds. So it's interesting because I think it is giving you a little bit of an assistance off the ground.
It does. Like it wouldn't. I understand why it makes you faster. As I was fucking with it the other day, it's like we were talking about the rhythm aspect to these movements, jumping, running, etc., and knowing when you
Check
land.
out this touchdown dance. Hold on, Andrew. Icky shuffle.
Oh, nice.
The thing makes you want to move is the thing that's fun with it.
And so what's the mechanism behind it though? Like, is it like the propulsors or there's something rattling in it, or is it just like what's going on?
Yeah, there's a spring in there.
Okay.
There's a spring, and then there's basically almost like a battery inside the spring. And there's like, I don't know, 20 or 30 of these things in there.
Okay.
And every time that you touch down with the ground, every time you hit the ground, those things hit the bottom. The battery inside hits the bottom of the cartridge that it's in. And then every time that you go to come back up, it comes up kind of with you. So if you were to jump, if you were to do a jump, you go downward first. Everyone that jumps up, has to go down first to drive some force into the ground. As you go down, the battery inside will go down, and as you come up, the battery will come up. But the weird thing is when you jump, it doesn't come up with you right away. The battery hits the top of the cartridge as you're already off the ground, and so you go up, and then you go up more because the battery's like whoop, it like pushes you up a little bit more. At least that's how it feels. And Nsima, you had a chance to wear it. Does it feel like that for you a little bit too?
What was I even talking about before? Shit. Yeah, it does. There's a rhythm aspect to it where if you're not somebody who knows, let's say that you're like cutting, right? There's a point where like you can hit the ground, and when you come off the ground, you can be quick because there's a rhythm to movement, right? That helps you understand when you should pop and when you should land. And that's why when somebody's jumping around with it, if you can keep the rhythm of the hops, you can get higher and higher and higher because you're able to produce force with the vest. I think the goal of using that vest is to go with it, with that force, and know when to come off the ground so you can produce as much force as possible with the vest versus just jumping with it on. Because you can land, and if you jump a little bit too late when it's already coming up, then you miss that point to be able to get as high as possible or be able to get that spring forward. But what this vest teaches athletes how to do is it teaches athletes how to kind of coordinate themselves and pop from one direction to another. When you see really good athletes and they're able to like really just zigzag really quick, it's because they're able to use that momentum of their body and they know how to pop. That vest can teach somebody how to have rhythm with their pop.
That's sick. It's like
that's all
a
it does.
timing thing that
Exactly.
it's instructing you on.
And if you can take advantage of that timing, that's why I think his athletes are able to be faster because they're already athletes who know how to do that. So that vest just kind of reinforces that. So now they're able to have something that's assisting them to move faster in whatever direction, whether they're jumping or propelling themselves forward.
That's sick. It turns sprinting or running into like a rhythm-based video game. I don't know if you ever play those where you have to hit the buttons at the right time and then you explode or whatever it is. That's really cool.
It feels amazing. It feels really good. He did a great job with it. I think that it'd be really popular. I think it's going to take off big time.
Once people choose to like not think it's a gimmick though.
Oh yeah.
Because there are people who are like, oh, it's another gimmick. Like you got to put the thing on and you got to fucking jump around and run with it so you know what it's doing.
There's nothing. I can't even like think of anything to really give good comparison to. The only thing I could think of in my head is just like
A pogo stick? Like the
pogo stick's a pretty good idea. Yeah, that kind of makes some sense. I was thinking about like skipping a rock. When you're a kid and you go to skip a rock and it skips like once or twice, and then your uncle or someone shows you and they're like, "No, you got to get your whole body sideways and then throw it sidearm kind of." Then it goes 7 times and you didn't throw it any harder. To me, that's the way the vest feels. The vest feels like less effort and you're getting more return, especially in jumping, because the cartridges are vertical, and when you land and you jump, it feels amazing. So I'm excited for it. I think it's really cool.
You know, like you've jumped on a trampoline before, right?
Yeah.
You know, like you can jump on a trampoline, and when you come off at the right moment, you can get super high. But if you come off a little bit too late or a little bit too early, you're kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you go nowhere.
Exactly. It's kind of like a trampoline where it's like,
shit,
if
this
you
is
can
cool.
manage that, if you know when to, you can hear it. It's cool because you have an auditory thing shaking, so you can hear it. But then you can also feel that pop every time you touch the ground. It's like a trampoline in that way.
That's cool. So like other than like easing your way into a sprint or an explosive movement, do you guys can you think of anything else that somebody can, I guess, maybe train to like get better at not blowing their shit up the way Kevin Hart did? It's like whether it be like power plus movements or something. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, because I know like people understand. Hopefully they understand at this point. Like, don't go 100% day one. But like, is there something else that like, well, when I'm not even going 60%, can I focus on something else to kind of like work into? We talked about myofascial stuff. Yeah.
I don't really think that there's much things that simulate a sprint.
No.
One thing I would say is that like, so something that people could do is to do simulated sprints somehow, some way, somewhere on something. And it's something I've thought about for a few years now is like, what can I sprint with where I'm not going to hurt myself? Okay, I can sprint with my hands. I can open my hand up and close my hand like as explosively as I want, like as fast as I want. I'm not going to hurt that. I can move my foot as fast as I want. My toes, I could move my shin up and down as fast as I want, right? Then maybe you can move your arm, you know, bench pressing and things like that. I can move certain parts of my body and it won't hurt. I could smash. Yeah, there you go. You almost got it.
Wait, y'all remember the Seedman thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That little babies do that when they cry. They like, "Rah, rah." Their fucking arms are going wild.
I forgot what the fuck. Oh, that was good. Sorry.
That's right.
But most people can sprint. It's just not on the street. It's not randomly in like a 40-yard dash. Like you could probably go sprint on your Aerodyne bike.
Oh yeah.
You could probably do a sprint. Maybe you know, we'll scale it back even more. You could probably sprint pretty good on an elliptical without any repercussions. And also, like, you can just pull back a little bit. Like, I don't think the sprint needs to be 100% for you to get great results from it, especially if you haven't done it in a long time. If you haven't done something in a long time, you know, going 60, 70% would be a really good start. So there's nothing in the gym that's a mimicker of what your hamstrings and your hips and stuff go through in a sprint. And that's why Functional Patterns made that video about the best movement that you can do, which was kind of a dumb thing because when people talk about exercises, they're normally talking about stuff that you do in a gym. So I don't think it was a really fair comparison, but they were saying that sprints are, you know, a better exercise, better choice than deadlifts, which I think, you know, if you're saying, okay, well, I'm taking into consideration all movement, then I think a lot of people would be like, well, yeah, sprints and jumps and stuff like that. They're amazing. They're better than deadlifts, maybe, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just got to make sure your whole body's prepared for it. I'm going back to it, but like some mobility work, myofascial release, like all these things, especially if you haven't done stuff like that before, your back's going to be tight. There's going to be areas that here in your core that are tight that you won't be able to open up. You won't be able to like twist. So when you're running, like if you're running stiff, then you're running like this just with the arms because your torso can't move. It's you want to ease yourself into that type of stuff and make sure your body's like not super tight. Because if now you're trying to produce force through a system that has kinks in multiple areas, that's an easy way. Like it wasn't even his fucking hamstring. It was his lower ab and his fucking adductors, right? So that means that maybe there was something not opening up here. And then when he just viciously opened up, rip.
Yeah, it wasn't ready.
Right? It wasn't ready.
Damn.
So that's, you don't want to be sprinting with a tight body.
You might be able to like run in place kind of fast without hurting yourself. I know Donnie Thompson has done that before on the sand dune stepper.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I don't care if you think I look funny doing this. This is like,
It's like high knees.
just do it. Yeah, doing high knees, doing drills, like things like that could be. They might not be as fun as just like letting loose and going ahead and just doing a full on sprint. But there are a lot of things that you can sprint with. A lot of the stuff that we were shown, the little plyometric things, and there's so many different movements. What's the guy's name? What's Dak's name? The dunker?
Oh, ooh, the dunker.
DAC, DAC something.
Yeah, I know you're
he has the
talking
highest
about.
vert. He's got the 50. But the other guy on the show that had the highest vert too. But he's friends with Kador.
Let me look him up.
Somebody else posted this. Oh wait, was that Stronger by Science? Was it that guy? Maybe that was the guy that I was thinking of.
Darius Clark. King Dak is his Instagram.
Deck.
KNGDAC.
Let's see.
Okay, he's a fucking Jesus.
He's so explosive, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And that guy Strong by Science has a lot of really sick stuff.
Yeah, I need to check that out because I think that's what I was.
But what are you looking for from Dak?
Just he was doing these like, I mean, just pull up anything from him. It's fucking crazy.
He flies, bro.
But like he does easy stuff though. Like that's not that difficult, right? Like he can jump like crazy. So these other movements that he's doing where he's jumping like a madman.
Oh.
But he also does a lot of stuff that's more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find. It was posted by somebody else. I don't think I'll be able to find it.
And almost hitting the top of the backboard. Fuck.
But he does a lot of stuff where he does like these little mini plyos where he's just jumping, bouncing off of like 1 foot.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's effortless for him because of the shape that he's in. But you know, back to Andrew's question of like, what would you have somebody do? I'd have somebody get used to just jumping, just in the air. Don't even jump on a box. I'd also have people get used to jumping down from stuff. Stand on something that's 12 inches high and jump down from there. If that feels like it's too high, start lower.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also have people start to get used to being on 1 foot. You know, do some training in the gym, unilateral. Do some hops on like hopping up and down on 1 foot. If you haven't done that in a long time, it might be way more taxing than you think.
So you have a hot date coming up and you look in your closet and all you see are the old, ugly clothes that you usually wear and you're going to wear tonight. It's time to end that, guys. That's why we've partnered with Viore Clothing because they have some amazing athleisure clothes that you can wear in the gym when working out, but also clothes that you can wear on a date or during Hanukkah or whatever. You can wear these clothes wherever and they feel amazing. Some of our favorites are the Ponter Performance line, which has dream knit fabric, which literally feels so soft on your skin. But they also have this. This is the Rise Tee. Also soft, also feels nice and fits great. And they have a lot of amazing clothes that you need to check out to step your fashion game up. We're trying to help you out. Andrew, where can they get it?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys got to head over to viori.com/power project. That's VUORI.com/power project, and you'll automatically receive 20% off your order. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
But also, if you have a sled, you can put some good force through that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you have something like access to one of those tanks or something, and you put the resistance a little higher, you can really allow yourself to produce a good amount of force through that without getting injured. And you've talked about that a lot, but that's something still people can easily use.
Sprint, do a sprint uphill.
Exactly.
Slows you down. You know, going uphill will slow you down a lot.
How about on the beach?
The beach is a lot harder surface than you might think sometimes. So you just have to pay attention to like how the sand is for that day. Cause like the sand, I've been out on the beach before, like running for like over an hour. And I'm like, oh my God, my feet are fucking killing me. Cause every once in a while the sand is actually really hard. So if you want to sprint and you want to go all out, then do it in the soft sand. But you're not going anywhere either.
Yeah.
And again, I would suggest not going like all out. I'd go like 80% or something.
Tight.
Would be a good start. But again, I don't think it has a ton to do with age. I don't know how you guys feel on that same note. But again, I think if the three of us did something that we're not used to, we might do okay in it because we are all still connected to certain things. You guys are connected to a sport that has a lot of physical demand, and you ask your body to move in a lot of different ways. And then you guys are also dealing with somebody else's body weight. You're dealing with somebody else's nervous system. You're dealing with somebody else's intensity. Like there's a lot of things going on in the sport that you guys do. So I would actually be surprised or shocked if you guys went and played a sport and got hurt from it. with some exceptions of like if you went and played tennis randomly and you try to go against someone that's like really fucking good, then maybe you're trying to go too fast, too early. But the stopping and starting, like it seems like you guys address a lot of that. So that would be another thing that people could do is like just play a sport, man. Like go play softball on the weekends or volleyball whenever you get the chance. Because you having some competitive fire and you diving for a ball in volleyball, that's like it's a mini sprint, but it's a sprint.
I do think something like pickleball is fucking amazing though, because like, even though from what you said, right, jiu-jitsu does have a lot of variables, you're on the ground, right? Something like pickleball, you're moving, or tennis, you're moving laterally quickly, right? You don't move laterally like that in jiu-jitsu unless you're on the feet and it's for a very short amount of time. You're moving forwards quickly, you're moving backwards quickly, you're swinging. It's like there's all these things that, some of them are involved in jiu-jitsu, but I think if you haven't done something like that in a while, you're gonna look real clunky trying to move laterally quickly to get to a ball, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love that us, especially like on this podcast with the guests that we've had, but even people that are listening, like we kind of look at like an injury, or we look at something that's preventing us from doing XYZ a little bit differently now. So like when we had Brian McGinty in and we were doing like those jumps on the mat, my right knee started bugging me. And so I had the opportunity to ask him about it, but he was explaining like, oh, it's like your tibs. And so now it's like, okay, that's something I need to address now. Yeah. Versus before, I might have just been like, oh, shoot, I can't jump the way I used to. I'm getting old. It's like, well, no, I don't work my tibs ever, and that's something I need to address. And so what I hope is that people listening, like they're kind of been around us and around the podcast long enough that they also have this approach. If whatever ligament or ailment is bothering you, it doesn't mean that you're old. It doesn't mean that it's over for you. It just means you need to address it. Oh, yeah. And there's a really good chance that we've talked about that exact same thing on the podcast. So the education, I think, just needs to catch up with like this whole getting old thing. Like it's probably never going to get there, but I just know that the people that pay attention to this podcast will eventually be like, nah, that's bullshit. Like I can actually fix that.
There's so many people who are probably like listening that have felt themselves getting younger too, just by doing more shit, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if we felt it, I know that there's so many people who felt the same thing. It's like you probably feel better now than you did a few years ago. And it's just a few additions, and you'll feel better in a few years than you did now. There's going to be a point where you start to feel your age. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you can continue to get better.
That movie I was telling you about, it's called The Swamp. It's on Netflix,
okay.
And it's a story of the Florida Gators and the intensity. See if you can bring up a teaser for it, Andrew. It's sick. But they do this event. They do this thing. They get all the football players around, and everyone watches these two guys go at it in this one thing that they're doing. And the objective is one guy has to crawl, like I think around 10 yards, and the other guy's goal is to just completely nullify and prevent the guy from crawling. And it gets wild. They start like beating the crap out of each other. They don't show a ton of it. They show like, I don't know, maybe show like maybe 30 or 60 seconds of it, but I was completely blown away. This is when Tim Tebow was on the team. Oh. Tim Tebow, by the way, was fucking jacked. He's still jacked. He's still huge. 6'4", 240 pounds. He was a monster and used to run people over. But it's kind of the way that the coach of the Florida Gators built up this team. It was really pretty interesting, but having them do that crawling drill, I was like, man, I got to tell Andrew and Nsima about this because this is nuts.
Sure. Show it. It'd be cool if they showed it here. Oh.
Yeah, they might. There you go. That's it right
there.
That's
the crawling?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yep, they just showed a brief, tiny little clip of it. But
looks like he was elbowing a dude.
Yeah, they're like, F it, man. We're just going to go for it.
What?
You see the intensity of this team. And they talked about like Tebow, like the girls would like pass out, when they're like watching the game and shit. Like people would just lose their mind watching these guys play.
I think it was Tim Tebow where like he had to be really careful when he was taking pictures with like chicks and stuff because he had like strong faith. Oh yeah. And so like chicks would try to like dive into a picture like topless and shit. Like they would, and he would just have to like, that's man, college.
Away from me, she devil.
Yes.
He supposedly like couldn't go to class and stuff after a while.
Right.
It just got to be so nuts.
It's just like, hose, please, no. That's crazy.
Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later.
Amen.
Bye.
Hi there. I know you guys like this video, so check this one out.